Hello everybody, this is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today we are going to talk about a buffet arrangement or a food table or it's just a large all the way around arrangement. Now this is a container that we rent here in the store, but we always like to use a liner in this container. And the reason we do that is with this liner, which is really what I would call a disposable urn. It has a bottom that pops onto the container, so it stands alone on its own. It's a sweet little container that stands alone on its own. But once I drop it into this container, it makes it bigger and showier. So I have taken about a block and a half of fresh floral foam. We have soaked that and we have put it into this container. You can see how I have a crisscross of tape that's to hold that foam into place. And then I have filled up the container. Now the reason I use a block and a half of floral foam is I use part of the half of the block, it's really probably about a third of the block, I drop down into the bottom of the container. I place the full block on top of that third. Then I take what's left and I wedge it down into the side so that my foam isn't going to rock back and forth. All of that is just to keep everything in place, and then I tape it in to make sure my arrangement's not going to go anywhere when delivering. Now I'm going to design this a little differently. Instead of adding all of my foliage first, let's arrange with our flowers first and then we'll add the foliage to fill it out, okay? I'm going to start out with some line flowers. So today we are working with purple larkspur. Now you have not, I've got a broken piece there, you have not seen me work with larks very often. A lark always comes in a little more sparse than I would prefer, but for this arrangement they asked that it be a little earthy. They wanted it to be less fixed and a little more earthy. So what I've done is I'm going to start out with my tallest flower first, my center flower. I just cut that stem at an angle and I pushed it right down into the floral foam. I'm going to do the same with the next one. I'm going to put one down into the side and just kind of angle it. Mister, you can't design with me today. Oh, so get down. Get down. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Go on in there with Callie. So I've tucked one stem to one side. I'm going to cut the second stem, tuck it in the opposite. Okay? I'm going to turn my container. I'm going to cut one at an angle and tuck it in. And then cut my fifth stem and tuck it in. So if you can see it, I have a tall one in the center and then I've gone the opposite on both sides with my line flower all the way around. And my friend wants to design with me today. So I'm going to go ahead and have those on the corner. So I'm going to tuck one here, and one here. Just to kind of fill in our arrangement. And I'm just putting one on the corners there. All right. So there is our larkspur. I wonder if maybe you could see it better if I pull it out of this one container. Let's just do it in the liner and then you can see the height of the arrangement. I'm going to set this container down. I will show you what it looks like in that container in the end. So here, this is just a liner. So there you can see that I took and I kind of placed them all the way around. Okay, so there's our line flower there. Next we're going to come in with some green hydrangeas. I have some quick dip here. So let me show you what we're going to do with our green hydrangeas. I'm going to take this sleeve, remove it, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the greenery from this hydrangea. I'm going to cut that stem at an angle with my knife. And then I'm dipping that flower right down into that quick dip. And what that does, I'm just dipping the stem that I cut. What that's going to do is hydrate that stem. Next, I'm going to just take that hydrangea and just tuck it right into that foam. Now, right now, this arrangement does not favor a whole lot, does it? It doesn't have a whole lot of form, but it kind of gives you an idea of exactly where the flowers should go. I took that greenery, I removed it. I'm going to cut that stem at an angle, just like that. And I'm going to dip it for about 7 seconds in that quick dip. And then I'm going to tuck it right at the opposite corner of that first green hydrangea. So I have one here and one here, okay? Another stem. Remove that greenery. Cut that stem at an angle, dip it in quick dip. Now, if you don't have quick dip, that's completely okay. If you have pickling alum, that works too. But all this really does is it just guarantees that this little hydrangea is going to stay up. Okay, so I placed one between those two, and then I'm going to place the other one right across in that arrangement. Now, the reason I am removing the leaves from my hydrangea, and I don't always do that, but the reason I am removing those leaves is so that when this hydrangea goes to drink the water, that it is going to, the water will go directly to the head instead of to the foliage. It's just going to help with hydration. Okay, so there's some green hydrangeas. I might have one more, I do. I kind of tucked that in the center of the arrangement. And then this fifth stem is going to come opposite of this one. So the reason these flowers are all the way around is because they will sit on a food table that's going to be in the center of the room. And so with it being in the center of the room, you will be able to see the arrangement from all the way around. Okay, our next flower is going to be some orange spray roses. So I have these beautiful orange spray roses. And I'm going to take them, remove that foliage, cut that stem at an angle, and I'm going to start kind of in the center and then go all the way around. All right, so there are our orange spray roses all the way around. I'll set these extras right back here. I may put one more right here on this opposite side. There we go. So there are our orange spray roses all the way around. All right, next we're going to come in with some sunflowers. So I have some really pretty small sunflowers. So for me personally, as a designer, I prefer a smaller sunflower than to a larger sunflower. And the reason is a smaller sunflower does not overpower the arrangement. A large sunflower, number one, they're pretty rigid, like their necks don't want to move, and they're so heavy. So I prefer smaller blooms. So I'm going to take this, and basically you can see where I put the hydrangeas. I'm going to put the sunflowers between the hydrangeas. So you can see how I have 5 stems of hydrangeas there. We're going to basically do that with our sunflowers too. I'm going to take that stem, I'm cutting it at an angle, and I am just going to tuck these sunflowers throughout this arrangement. Kind of between those hydrangeas. Actually going to use, I think, 6 stems instead of just the 5. All right, so there's our pretty sunflowers all the way around in that arrangement. Okay, next we are going to come in with some foliage, and then we'll add our Queen Anne's lace to this arrangement. So the foliage I'm going to use first is just a little bit of leather leaf. I'm taking my floral knife and I'm cutting the band that's holding that leather leaf together. Just take that band and throw that right in the garbage. I'm going to take my leather leaf, I'm going to slide this over just a smidge, because my cat is so kindly in my on my design table, so he's not very useful, is he? I'm going to take that greenery and I am going to pop it right there, and I am just going to tuck small pieces throughout this arrangement to cover up my floral foam. Take another stem, and I like to use it in pieces, so I'm just taking some small pieces and coming all the way around with that leather leaf. I don't want the leather leaf to really overwhelm the arrangement, but I do like for my base to be covered. So that's the reason I am using just some smaller pieces of the leather. So you're just covering up that floral foam. You don't want it to be seen. Okay, so I have my floral foam pretty much disguised there. Next I'm going to come in with some greenery that I cut out of the yard. I believe it's a variety or a type of privet, but it holds up beautifully in floral foam. I've never had any problems with it going down. So I cut some out of the yard. I'm going to take it and I'm going to strip off the bottom leaves. I'm just taking the stem, holding it there, and just stripping those leaves right off. I'm just going to toss those. I'm going to take my floral knife, cut that stem at an angle, and I am going to tuck this pretty foliage right down into this arrangement. Now the best part about using foliage that I cut out of my yard is that I don't have to charge a whole lot of money for it. It didn't cost me any money, but I get to fill up the arrangement and I get to feel like it's so much prettier with different types of foliage. So I'm just taking that stem and I'm just taking my fingers and running my hand right down the stem and pulling off that foliage. And being that it was free, I can use as much as I want, right? Now, if you are going out to harvest, if you have grown flowers and grown foliage and had to go and harvest all of the things, I would say absolutely charge market price for flowers that you grow. But because this is just growing right outside my back door here at the flower shop, I choose not to charge for it. All right, so there is my privet all the way around in my arrangement. Next we're going to come in with just a little bit of Queen Anne's lace to soften it up. Lydia, I got you all dirty. We're going to take some Queen Anne's lace because it looks so wildflower. So I have a few stems of just white Queen Anne's lace. I'm taking that floral knife and I'm cutting that at an angle. And I am just tucking that right over into that arrangement. I like to use this in more of an airy looking effect, so it's not perfectly placed. I like it to kind of look like it's just kind of wild and growing. Now here in Mississippi, Queen Anne's lace just grows wild in the fields. You can absolutely go and cut it. We did not cut this. This actually came from our local, or from my grower. This came from Budsy. They have the traditional white, and then they also have a chocolate that's so pretty, kind of a maroon color. It's beautiful. But yes, you can absolutely go and harvest wildflowers, and Queen Anne's lace happens to be one that lasts a good long time, so it's really pretty. Okay, there is our flowers all the way around. Next, I'm going to take a few branches. They wanted it to kind of look woodsy, so I thought, I was talking to Callie, and Callie said, we have some of these branches here, tuck some of those in. So these are, actually these branches are pussy willow branches, but they do not have the little buds on them. And the reason is we actually got them shipped to us as a dried material, and they placed them down in a box, but they didn't put a whole lot of cushion around them. So when they rode in the box, they just kind of rattled throughout their trip here, and when they did that, they lost all of the buds. Well, they didn't charge us any money for them, which was a blessing. So we're just going to use these as branches in this arrangement. I just took my hand and I just broke that stem, and I am just tucking it right into that floral foam. You can go outside and harvest branches. You can even take some branches and paint them if you wanted to. You don't have to use them in their natural state. You can sure take some spray paint and paint those. All right, so there are our branches. And now I'm going to drop it in its container that it will be used. So here is that urn, and they're just going to rent the urn from us. This is just the liner that we're going to drop right down in here. But there is that really pretty arrangement. This will be dropped into the urn just like that. And this will be used on their food table. Guys, thank you so much for being here with me this afternoon. If you have any questions about how we do things here at our flower shop, please don't hesitate to ask. We would love to answer those questions. And if you have not subscribed to our channel here on YouTube, please be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And if you'll hit that bell, you'll get notifications for when we go live. Guys, you have a wonderful day, and we will see you all real soon. Thank you so much.